Om. Om. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Reva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva Tvameva vidya dravinam Tvameva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Yata sarvani bhutani pratibhanti sthitani cha yatraivo pashamam yanti tasmai satyatmane namaha. So where are we in our text?
Chapter 14, verse number 29.
Chapter 14, verse 29.
So we're starting a new section.
Okay.
Section 3, Bhagavad Upadeshaha, the teaching of the Lord. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Chittastham hi Prithivyadi na Bahistham Kadachana Swapna Brahma Padartheshu Sarvaire Vanubhuyate. The Blessed Lord said, the earth and the like, or the physical elements, are only in the mind and never at any time exist separately. They are experienced just by everybody in the delusive objects of the dream.
So the reference here is to the tanmatras, which are the 5 elements. Have you had this in your particular teaching, Dario?
It's like
Earth, air,
yeah,
fire,
yeah,
water,
but-
and space or ether. So I struggled with this when I first got introduced to Vedanta. I would say, Earth is not an element, it's helium, it's hydrogen, it's carbon, it's oxygen, They just did no science. And in Yoga Vasishtha, we get the subtler understanding of it. And the simplest way, you guys have heard me do this 1,000 times. So if you see the coffee table, what's the coffee table made of? Wood, rosewood. What's wood made out of? Well, largely cellulose. Well, what's cellulose made out of? Carbon. So it is shaped into a particular form called a coffee table. That's how we think of elements in the material world. But if I were dreaming about the coffee table, what's it really made of? Well, the fabric of the mind. But not just in an unformed state. It's made of seeability, hearability, tasteability, touchability, which one are smellability. So we contact name and form as humans through our five senses. Other animals have other senses. Those are the ones we have. So earth is the faculty of smellability. You have to understand an agrarian society. Have you ever been around farms?
Mhm.
Yes, no?
Yeah.
So you know when they're freshly plowing the land, you can smell the earth. So earth is the sense of smell. Air is touch. You could feel the wind on your skin. Fire, seeability. Light, earth, air, fire, water, taste. I can taste the mountain stream. And space, Akash, sound. A bell rings in space and you can hear it. So the coffee table of my dream is those five elements, earth, air, fire, water, and space, divided and then recombined in various permutations. This is called the Pancha Karana in the tradition, the fivefold division and then subsequent recombination. But what it means is everything is, the senses are put together in a very unique and subtle way for every sense object in the dream state. So if I dream I'm riding a horse, it's a different combination of sense perceptions than a dreaming of a coffee table. And then what the shloka says is, this is no different. What's different is, first of all, you are the God of your dream. You are Mini Ishwara. So if you have a dream last night, we three are not privy to it. Who's doing the dreaming of Sarvam Idam, all this? It is Ishwara. It's the Lord. But it comes about in the same way. And then to a degree, you and I are co-creators. We participate in it. So the divine intelligence doesn't create the world solely at us and to us, but also as us and through us. And it is my sankalpa, my imagination as an individual that brings about the individual things in my life, along with the larger total mind. It's a big, huge group gestalt. And that's what brings about the world. Now, there's a vibrational difference. The physical, phenomenal jagat is a denser, it's a grosser vibration than the subtle world that we experience in our minds when we imagine something or when we dream something. But that's the only difference. That's the only difference. And the other big difference is when I wake up, because the dream goes poof, I determine the dream isn't real. Oh man, that was so weird. But understand, to the dreamer, the dream seems real. If I dream I'm riding a horse, when I'm dreaming, the horse seems real. Just as real as this seems to you and me. But the scripture thunders. Brahma Satyam Jagan Vidya. Brahman alone is real. The phenomenal world is illusory. Vaidhatya. False. So what? So we meditate on the fundamental unreality of the phenomenal world. Take it easy. It comes about like a dream. What's really there is consciousness alone. It's like going to the movies. You watch it, you laugh, you cry, your heart beats. Buildings get blown up. The hero rescues the damsel. You won't go, oh, that was such a great movie. You have this whole range of emotions, but you know it's not real. Any thoughts on this? What makes me think the phenomenal world is real? The habit of attributing reality to it. When I break that, I start to contemplate the possibility. Maybe it's not as solid and real as I think it is. And it starts to loosen up a bit. Now, if that is too difficult, where we start, the Buddhists do this, they're very great at it. What is the truth about everything in the phenomenal world? Impermanence. Everything passes. But the deeper understanding is actually everything is Brahman. Sarvam kalvidam Brahma. Oh, this is verily Brahman. All right, next verse.
Oh, sorry, what page are we on?
145.
Okay.
Yatrananta jagat jalam sansthitam sena chetasa darshitam Chvapachatvam che tadatra vismaya kutaha. If by that mind, where the endless illusion of the world is situated, the state of an outcast has been displayed, then whence is the astonishment in this matter?
So he's got this wonderful phrase, Jagat Jalam. Isn't that it?
Mhm.
That's Jala is a web, a spider web. So the web of the world. So remember what happened? This dude, he's there in the river, he goes underneath the water, he has this incredible experience. All these things, he comes up, thinks he's an outcast, then the elephant finds him and he's the king, and everybody thinks he's the king, and then they found out he's an untouchable. So they all jump on the funeral pyre. Remember the story of last week.
Mhm.
So how did this come about? So all that happened, what the Blessed Lord is saying is, you imagine everything. It's not that, oh, that was a hallucination and I just imagined it. Everything is imagination. So that's all that happened. He had the imagination in his mind of being an outcast. Now, it's not like he thought he was an outcast, but what's real is he's the Brahmin. Even the idea that he's a Brahmin is like a dream. What's real? Chidakash. You are the space of pure awareness. Next verse.
यथा श्वपचता दृष्टा प्रतिभासवशात्वया तथैवातीथि मायातं दृष्टवानसि सम्भ्रमे. As the state of being an outcast was perceived by you through the influence of illusion, so also you have seen the guest who has arrived in that delusion.
So, not only is the state of being the outcast an illusion, but remember, he um, uh, comes back to being the Brahmin, and then the guest shows up who says, "Oh, I was in this village," yada, yada, yada. That too is imagination. Now, why is this sort of thing important? I had a very brief conversation with a friend, and he's in recovery. He's a former crystal meth addict. He's got, 12, 15 years clean time now. We were talking about spirituality. I don't normally go down this road. And he says, "Oh, I had spiritual experiences on psychedelics." And he thought they were very real. Well, I'm sure they were real experiences. But a psychedelic experience is a double samsara. It's an illusion about this world that makes you think what you experience on it is real. And this world is an illusion about ultimate reality. If it has a beginning and an end, if it occurs in time and space, if it has qualities and characteristics, if it's confined to the waking dream or deep sleep state. And most importantly, if it is cognized as an experience, that isn't it. What is real with a capital R? That which always is, that which is never subject to negation. If that be so, in truth, it cannot be an experience. And this is a major pitfall that people have in the spiritual life. They're waiting for an experience. I'm not saying we don't have experiences, but what's real is you. When are you ever not you? My problem is not that I lack direct, again, experience falls short because it's not an experience of something that comes and goes, of eyeing. It's just that I'm profoundly unfamiliar with it. And I superimpose all sorts of nonsense on it. Who are you? And a mind very still. With the attentive faculty turned within. Who are you? Well, if I do a deep ritual and I see the goddess, is she real? Yes and no. Swamiji always used to say, a personal God is as real as your ego. And if you are identified as a person, by all means, worship God as you understand God. But when your mind stops, the individuality is gone and the form of God goes. It's not that which you worship here, as Cain Upanishad says. I do this ritual and I merge with the goddess. I become the goddess. Knock yourself out. Those are wonderful experiences. But to whom did they occur? Before you did the ritual, who was aware of just your ordinary mind? I was. When you did the ritual and had this incredible experience, who was aware of it? I was. And when the ritual's over and you're back in ordinary mind and dealing with relationship and work and stuff like that, who's aware of that? I am. That's what's real. Yeah, but I wanted fireworks. Oh, it's better than fireworks. When you really begin to see that that self is a changeless reality. Was talking with another person this week, and he had come to the conclusion, and I believe it too, the virtually all of our kleshas, our defilements, our character defects, boil down to fear. What am I afraid of? I'm not going to get what I want. I'm not going to be okay. Or what I have is going to be taken from me. Or somebody threatens my notion of self.
Seems like I'm not going to be okay is the fundamental fear,
Yeah,
which comes everything else falls on.
I would agree with you. I would agree. And it is the firstborn of ignorance.
And the teacher broke the kleshas, lay the teacher broke the kleshas down as being fundamental to ignorance.
Their cause is ignorance, yes.
Yeah.
Their cause is ignorance. But once I'm in ignorance, then everything else is a form of fear. No, you're absolutely right. And so trying to secure self is a losing proposition. It's like trying to secure space. Jim, what are you doing? I'm building a house. Why are you building a house? To protect space. What are you digging in the ground? I'm digging a hole. Why are you digging a hole? To protect space.
It seems like that tendency to want to protect is a deep-rooted pattern of the mind.
Absolutely.
It keeps operating. And so like you have to keep seeing the uselessness of that effort of trying to protect.
And it's twofold. You see the uselessness of trying to protect it, but also remember who you are. That acts of protection are, it's as if, I've got an ache in my leg, so what I do is polish the table. It's
It doesn't work.
yeah, you're dealing with something that's,
Right.
yeah.
So that the fact that you're polishing the table, like that needs to be seen that it's not connected to what the problem is.
Yes, yes, yes. That's the deep insight. That's the vipassana
Mm.
that allows you to begin to let it go.
But the habit is also so strong where the echoes of it keeps trying to reinforce itself.
So Arjuna says to Krishna, we just had this Sunday, the end of the 6th chapter. Oh, Krishna, trying to control the mind is like trying to control the wind. Krishna says, that's true. But it can be done through practice and vairagya. Remember our definition that vairagya has 2 elements to it. What's the first one? That desire to give up attachment to all experiences gained through the senses. That's only half the issue. And that desire to give up identification with any form of self. So that desire to secure self, it's all rooted in body identification. Or body plus the personality.
Mm. I mean the ritualistic part of it, which is I guess any practice in the end is a ritual. There is the belief, I suppose, or like a feeling that the state that I am in when I am feeling ecstatic can be a permanent feature, like the ecstatic, the peak of experience. And we are always trying to repeat that and get there because there is a fundamental belief that I can always operate from that peak.
I get that, and that's not true.
Right. And so the insight of seeing that it's not true is to constantly see that yes, the peak happens and then there is a fall. The peak happens and then there's a fall. Like, right? Is
Well,
that
I know I would use the word fall. They're just the movement of various mind states.
yeah.
But the peace comes from non-attachment,
Mm.
not having the peak experience.
Right.
Now, but this is a paradox here. By all means, practice samadhi, because that bliss, that peak, is what pulls the mind out of the world.
Right.
If you have no samadhi, your mind's going to be attached to the world. There's no help for it.
But even to give up samadhi, uh, the habit, I suppose, of the mind is to want to seek samadhi, right? Because once it seeks, that becomes the object, I suppose, the new object, which is not worldly. It is more of a self.
It's just a subtle form of worldly pleasure.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah. But
So you can't be attached to it.
so the process is still the same of seeing it as a worldly
Well,
event.
think, does it come and go?
Yeah.
Does it have qualities and characteristics? But do you ever forget who you are? That's far more important. And
No.
the jnani has given up believing in the mind. The mind is nowhere standing. The mind itself is not real. No mind state is real. But you give that teaching to a beginner and they rationalize their suffering. I might as well shoot heroin because it's not real. It will teach you. It's subtler and subtler levels of vairagya.
Mhm.
Always in the end comes back to viveka vairagya cha. The mark of the jnani is she's given up struggle. Let all your strivings cease. Now, listen carefully. In the end, desire is not an impediment to realization. Ignorance is an impediment to realization. You can want to have a blissful mind state, and you either get it or you don't.
Yeah.
It's just like you'd like to have your stock portfolio go up, wouldn't you?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and it either does or it doesn't. You know. But if you think you're going to be a bag lady if your stock portfolio crashes, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Likewise, not in samadhi.
It's almost like the opposite, which is like, when the stock portfolio goes down, there is this disappointment, like not this, it's like, oh no, it went down, right? Like it's like a surface level dart, I suppose. And again, the mind's habit pattern is to always try to feel pleasant, and it tries to make effort for you to go back to a pleasant state. And that itself is a delusion as well.
Yes. Yes and no. Depends on what you're calling a pleasant state.
Where you're, the feeling of disappointment or like, annoyance has faded away.
Yeah.
But that happens automatically too. There's no efforting that needs to happen to get rid of that.
Well, it varies from person to person where your particular attachments.
But wouldn't you say if there is an effort being put in that moment, that itself is a form of suffering?
Yeah, but if your mind is efforting, why give a damn about it? I mean, it's, you see what I
Giving
mean?
a damn, I suppose, is the suffering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm struggling and I'm not supposed to struggle, or I'm efforting, you know.
But you can feel the struggle. It's either there or it's not.
So you give it up.
Yeah.
Quit struggling. The struggling is your suffering. The struggling is always a belief that some
Yeah.
external is going to make me happy.
Yeah. Which includes even the internal experience.
Absolutely, those are just subtle objects.
Yeah.
And this is why there are schools of Vedanta who say samadhi is not necessary. And they're very nice people. Swamiji taught, practice samadhi. But don't struggle. Do you struggle when you pick up your guitar?
No. Unless I'm like learning something challenging, then yeah.
No, that's work. That's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
But if you think it all depends on being a rock and roll star, it's different. I assume you enjoy playing the guitar.
I know, yes.
But I don't think you're dependent on it for your happiness. it will make itself clear. Again, words fall short and fail us. If you want words, return to Gita, the end of the second chapter, this Dita Prajna Purusha section. Those last 18 verses. Verse 54, Arjun says, what are the marks of the person of steady wisdom? How do they sit? How do they walk? How do they talk? And then from 55 to the end of the chapter are things to look at. And I don't know about you, I've never tired.
Thank you.
And 55, I think, has the absolute totality of yoga in it. When a person casts off all the cravings, the desires of the mind, O Partha, and it's satisfied in the self by the self, then they're said to be a person of steady wisdom. To me, that's it. I don't think Gita's lying. But you and I get to look at what does that really mean. Good discussion. Anybody else have things to add to it? All right, next verse.
तथा हूणस्थलं प्राप्य दृष्टोऽसि प्राक्तनं गृहं तथा कीरेषु राजत्वं दृष्ट्वान् प्रतिबिम्बितम्. Thus you have seen the former residence, having reached the place of the Hunas, so have you seen the kingship of the Kiras reflected in the mind that caused the delusion.
Yes. So it's like a hallucination. It's Jagat Jala, the web of the world. I love the metaphor because a web is sticky. So bugs get caught in the web because it's sticky. So that's what happens to the inattentive person. The web of the world is sticky. Oh, I really want. And they can be the subtlest of mind states. All right, going on.
कदाचित् प्रतिभैकैव बहूनामपि जायते तेनैव सन्निवेशेन श्वपचोऽप्यभवत्पुरा. At some time or other, the one light of consciousness alone is born as that of the many. Only by its deep entrance or proximity, the outcast also came into existence formally.
Yes, so it's just another sankalpa. It's just another imagination. It's just another name and form that arises in consciousness. And one of the marks of the person of steady wisdom is, in the end, they really don't care too much what happens to the body, mind, intellect, what it's doing or what it's not doing, praise or censure, or mind states. If you're in a funky mind state, have some chocolate. You can meditate. It will probably help, or maybe not, but it will pass. It's just the mind state. We have a class and everybody gets really deep and blissed out. Well, then I have to go do the dishes. Or my neck hurts. It's always changing. Do I enjoy a really good satsang? Yeah. I'm a slut. I'm a Shakti junkie. But I have no illusions that it's not going to change. And this can be a problem if you have a very powerful guru. You're around the guru and this inspires us. But then the guru leaves. You're stuck with your own mind. Going on.
कीर नृपति भूत्वा प्रविवेशानलं ततः तवाभूत् केवलं चित्ते स्वसम्बन्धितया हि तत्. Having become the king of the Kiras, he then entered into the fire. That indeed happened solely in your mind due to self-relatedness.
Yes. All of the things that happen are solely in the mind. Now, you've heard me say this before. Both bondage and liberation occur to the mind. In the end, the bondage isn't real. The liberation isn't real. Your self is always free. Self doesn't get liberated. Scripture isn't real. The guru isn't real. Shisha isn't real. The samadhi isn't real. Funky mind isn't real. Struggling isn't real. None of it is. And that's why I like to say the sthita prajna is out of control. You've heard me say this so many times. Give up control. Let it be. Going on.
ज्ञानस्य परिपूर्णत्वात् न शक्नोषि मनोभ्रमं विनिवारयितुं तेन तेनैवाक्रम्यसे शरणात्. Due to the lack of fullness of knowledge, you are not able to ward off the mental delusion. On account of that, you are overcome in a moment by that very delusion.
So when nama rupa, name and form, present themselves, the fool is unable to ward off I-ness and minus. The jnani just sees it all as mind, a picture show. no need to control. Let it be.
Wouldn't you also say there is no such thing as control? It is a false belief that control is possible. And that's the struggle in some sense.
That is a struggle, sure. But that's ego's greatest strategy. Next verse.
Tapa kuru tvamutthaya tato jnanam avapsyasi ityukta tyakta sankalpa gadi tatra karotapah atmachintana rupam cha manobhrama nivrittaye dasha varshani tenasau atmajnanam avapnavan जीवन मुक्त पदम प्राप्य वीतशोको बभूव च. Having risen, you perform penance for spiritual enlightenment. Then you will gain knowledge. Thus told, Gandhi, with his wishes or imaginations given up, did penance there for 10 years in the form of reflection on the self, for the cessation of mental delusion. By that penance, he obtained knowledge of the self and attained to the state of liberation while living. He became free from sorrow.
Yes. So it took him 10 years to burn out all those kleshas, all those vasanas. And in the end, again, 90% of the healing is just awareness. When we begin to see, oh, there's kartavya, there's struggle. Let me let that go. Let me let that go. And then you were saying, oh, the habit is so strong, but it's still just habit. It's not your swarup. It's habit. There's a difference. Is that making sense? You don't want to say, oh, I'm going to be a sufferer for the rest of eternity. That's not the teaching of yoga. And your intuition will let you know how to give stuff up. But it always boils down, Krishna calls it abhyasa vairagya. Shankara says viveka vairagya. Yes, excuse. All right, going on. Is that ending that section?
There's a few more. Evam eshati vitata durjnana raghunandana paramatmaschaya maya mahamoha kari sada chitta kramana matra tu paramat aushadhat hrite prayatnenapi sansara maharogo na shamyati. Raghunandana or Rama. Thus, in this incomprehensible illusion, depending on the Supreme Self, spread out exceedingly, causing great delusion always. The great disease of worldly existence is indeed not extinguished even by continued effort without the most excellent medicine of the mere overcoming of the mind.
Yes. So in the end, there's only one renunciation that's efficacious. and only one that works, that's really, well, efficacious. That is to renounce the mind. This doesn't mean gripping the mind into silence. Although in the beginning there may be some effort to stop or control your mind. Nirodha is fighting back in the mind. But in the end, it's when the mind itself grasps its own unreality. I cannot think a real thought. No thought is real. Thought arises. Let it go. I think we've talked about this in another class. I'm fond of that discussion about, I think it's the selection of the sixth Zen patriarch. If I remember the story, I may be confusing it a bit. So the fifth Zen patriarch's getting old. And while he was there, a monk came who was deeply enlightened but illiterate. So put him to work in the kitchen at school. And as he was nearing his end, he said, the next Zen patriarch will be chosen by writing a poem. And then the senior monks will decide, based on the poem, who's going to be the next Zen patriarch. So this one senior monk writes a poem, and it's something like this. Bodhi is like a tree. The mind is like a clear mirror standing. Be sure to keep it free from ducks. So this is the person always doing these subtle practices. Bodhi is like a tree, enlightenment, like a tree. It's always getting deeper and better, getting deeper and better. Oh God, great poem, great poem. He's the guy, everybody's saying. So the guy in the kitchen says, what's the poem? Because I can't read it. So they give him the poem. He said, Bodhi's not like a tree. The mind is nowhere standing. Where is there anything for dust to cling to? A wonderful, wonderful story. Next verse.
Vartamanam kramayatam bhajat bahya kshanam abhajat bhavi bhutam cha yati chittam achittatam. Accepting the present that has arrived in regular course for the moment with the externalized intellect and not accepting or entertaining the future and the past, the mind is reduced to the state free from thoughts.
Yes. So stay out of the past, stay out of the future, stay in the intensity of the now. Now, the flow of thoughts in and of itself is not problematic. This text reduces the mind to three ideas. The first, I think I'm a person. That state is inherently, the word I've been using lately is spiritually impoverished. I need something. I need an ecstatic mind state. And that need only takes one or two forms. It can be both. I either need to change the world or I need to change me. And the me that I need to change is a phony individual. The third element, kartavya, literally obligatory actions. But it's this making efforts. It's the struggling. Now, the beauty is it's a triangle. And if you work on any one of those three ideas, the other two fall. Or you can do an integral yoga, work on all three of them. But the whole structure of the ego is based on those three ideas. The only ones we need to remove. It's that simple. So we don't want to read a verse like this that it seems to imply, you're having a frontal lobotomy or a bottle in front of me, one or the other. That's not wisdom. Going on.
चेतनं चित्तरिक्तं हि प्रत्यक्चेतनमुच्यते निर्मनः स्वभावात् तु न तत्र कलनामलः. The conscious mind, emptied or devoid of thoughts, is indeed called the inner intelligent principle or the individual soul. Because of its inherent nature, being free from the thinking mind, there is no taint of thought or seizing of objects there.
So when a person, at least momentarily, has an experience of a mind that is no mind, the momentary cessation of vimarsha, the deliberation, all that's left is the prakash, the light of pure awareness. What has obscured that knowledge? The extroversion of the mind into the world, the extroversion of the mind into wanting to maintain or protect self. I mean, I can give you more verses. We've talked about this for so many times. 267 in Vivekachudamani. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Even after realization of the self, there exists a strong impression that one is the doer and the enjoyer, which is the cause for rebirth, which means re-identification. It needs to be conscientiously rooted out through steady and continuous identification with the self. It's the annihilation of the vasanas here and now that's considered liberation by the wise. There it is. Couldn't be any clearer. Couldn't be any clearer. Going on.
Malam sanvedhyamutsrijya mano nirmalayan param asha pashan alam shitva sanvinmatra paro bhava tadaiva shiyate moha sansara brahma karanam. Having cast away the dirt of the known, of what is to be known, making the mind clear or bright, completely, and having thoroughly broken asunder the fetters of hope or desire, be absorbed in pure consciousness only. Then alone is delusion or ignorance, which is the cause of roaming about in worldly existence, destroyed.
Yes. So we remove the dirt, the malam of the known. giving up all struggle. And samadhi is not the highest state, or not nirvikalpa samadhi. It's incredibly important and valuable. With it, it removes all doubt about the nature of the self, the nature of the world. But when thinking returns, seeing the unreality of the mind as you're moving in and through the world, Tripurara Hasim calls it sahaja samadhi, natural or continuous samadhi. What's the experience of the jnani in sahaja samadhi? She never forgets, I am the self. And that's the most obvious present fact. And you don't have to keep reminding yourself or thinking of it. Bhagawan used to say, just like the ordinary person doesn't forget they have a human body, they don't wonder if they're a goat or a cow or a horse or a pig. So also for the jnani, they always know it's me. And when are you ever not you? And they know the fundamental unreality of the mind. The thought goes by, perception happens, but there's no investment in it. And then that is effortless. That's effortless. All right, going on.
Pranatmanya atmabhavena mamedam iti bhavatah ahankara vikarena cheto gacchati pitanam. By the idea or sense of the self in the non-self, and because of the feeling, this is mine, and by the malady or feeling of egotism, the mind becomes swollen with thoughts.
Yes. So, to break it down a little more technically, the issue is anyonya adhyasa, mutual superimposition. The first superimposition, I superimpose upon the self the qualities of the not self. Or riffing on what, who are you? Puneet said, even if I think I am my mind, I want my mind to be this or that. That's another superimposition. Drop it all. Then the other superimposition is I superimpose upon the not self, the world of name and form, the qualities of the self. Dario exists over there, separate from me. As soon as I think he exists over there, I start thinking, well, I really like that dude, or he's pissed me off today. I attribute existence, sentience, and happiness to the not self. This is my problem. The cause is spiritual ignorance. This is anyonya adhyasa. What do I need to do? Who am I? Koham. Brahmasmi. I'm Brahman. My nature is Chidakash, the space of pure awareness. What's the world? The world is Brahman. The names and forms are Mithya, illusory, even subtle mental forms. Next verse. Before you chant, how many more in this section? So I kind of get it.
2.5 more in this chapter.
All right.
Eyadeya vibhagena samashvasena sanstritau snehena dhanalobhena chetugacchati pitanam. By the division of what is fit to be abandoned and what is fit to be received, by trust in worldly life, by attachment, and by greed for wealth, the mind becomes swollen with thoughts.
So artha here, wealth, can be gross wealth, money, or subtle wealth, the mind state. And if I'm still, I need to acquire this, and I need to get rid of that. That's what my problem is. Turn the volume level down. How? Get out of the mind. Give up concern for stupid mind states. First of all, you can't even be sure it's yours. That's what I think is so funny. The emptier you become as a yogi, the more you feel the thoughts and feelings of others as if they were your own. The only real, even that is temporary, escape is go live on top of a mountain in the Himalayas. We never escape mind. All you can do is see it for what it is. Next one.
Uddalakavadalunam vishirnam bhuta panchakam kritva kritva dhiya dhira dhirayanta virachaya. Brave one, having cut off and shattered the 5 elements of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, repeatedly like Uddalaka, investigate within by a steady or resolute intellect.
So again, this idea by cutting off the tanmatras, the elements, it means my belief in the reality of any form, gross or subtle. All objects, all feelings, all thoughts. Jagan Mithya. They're all empty. And now this is the last one coming up.
That's the concluding
Yeah.
verse. Iti Shri Vasishtha Sangrahe Gadhya Pakyanam Nama Chaturdasha Sargaha. Thus ends the 14th chapter titled The Story of Gandhi in the Abridgment of Yoga Vasishtha.
Okay. Om Tat Sat. We'll end here tonight. Thank you all.
You're not chanting the Purnamana?
Oh, we can. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om. That's